The beauty about racetracks is that they have their own identity, their signature sections, their landmark turns. Pocono Raceway is no different. The track that asks a rhetorical question as part of its branding. There is no turn 4 at this oval, but there doesn't need to be. 3 are tricky enough. And the Colombian contingent that are here to cheer on their man, Juan Pablo Montoya, know the JPM knows how to handle them just fine. He remains the point leader as he has been all year, but can he hang on for just 2 more races? The series' most recent winner says no. Graham Rahal has racing in his bloodline and desperately wants to be a champion like his famous father, Bobby. But it won't be that easy when you've got superstars like 3-time champion Scott Dixon, today's pole sitter Helio Castro-Neves, and reigning series champion Will Power, all still very much in this title fight. As IndyCar fans, if you wished for another thrilling end to a championship, you've got it. Welcome to IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon. Quite a nice day here, although we have some high cloud hanging around. It is pretty good to go racing mid-70s, a little bit of humidity and a light breeze. Quite comfortable actually to go racing for this 500-miler in the 2015 Verizon. In the action at Mid-Ohio.
Sebastian Bourdais to the high side. They bang wheels, go 2 by 2. Bourdais has to lift a little bit.
Dixon has taken off. Scott Dixon leaves that challenge from Sebastian Bourdais.
Adjust your brake bias, adjust your brake bias.
Sage Karam backwards.
Maybe full course yellow, maybe. Repeat, maybe.
Sorry, I got caught up adjusting my brake bias.
Everybody has to pit. You don't.
Oh,
Kimball again. Is this going to be a late race yellow? Ready to go, racing to the finish. It's 2 Hondas and Wilson takes the lead momentarily. Rahal hangs tough. Rahal leads to the roar of the crowd. A Rahal wins at Mid-Ohio. It's Graham's turn.
That's it. Excellent job, young man. You won Mid-Ohio.
It's separating Montoya and Rahal. We highlight Dixon, Castro-Neves and Power there because they are still true contenders, and we bring back that saying of mathematical possibilities. You go all the way down to the 10th place Simon Pagenaud. Reason why, if you're saying, hang on a minute, there's only 2 races left. Yes, you are correct. However, the final event in Sonoma in wine country brings with it double points, and don't forget it, the additional bonus points there. So there's still 150 plus points on offer over the next 2 weekends here.
Robin.
Well, that fire that still burns. Returning to IndyCar after many years in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series in his 2nd year back, and has a chance to win his 2nd championship. But it won't be decided here today. That doubleheader points race next weekend in wine country Sonoma. And a reminder, there's still a chance to get in on Honda's fastest seat in sports sweepstakes by entering at shophonda.com. Today's lucky winner, riding behind Mario Andretti, is Greg Lewis from Denton, Texas. Hey Greg, how is it?
It's great. Can't wait to go faster.
Well, I'm sure you will. Congratulations. Enjoy it. Enjoy it a lot. Riding with the legend Mario Andretti. And Greg won today by logging on to shophonda.com. Congratulations and enjoy it. Hey, you've got one last chance, and that is next weekend out in California. So, looking forward to that. So we need to take you to the starting grid, presented by Mothers. And boy, is it an interesting one. You've already heard us discuss in IndyCar Live about the top 3 dominated by Team Penske. 3 of the 4 in the top 3 positions. Helio Castro-Neves on pole for the 4th time this season. Let's roll it back to row 2, and we'll pick up Will Power and a very promising start, well, qualifying, you should say, for Joseph Newgarden.
Yes, another good start for Joseph, looking for a great result. Look at Graham Rahal. He thought he was going to qualify at the back. He saw Montoya had problems. They put a good setup on it in qualifying. Ends up 5th. Carlos Munoz, the 2nd Honda runner in line, and Justin Wilson, the 3rd. And the 4th, Hunter Ray. So Honda's pretty strong in qualifying.
Last time we're at an oval was Iowa Speedway, Steve, and RHR was strong. A terrific victory there. But you start getting back into the depth of the field. We now go back to that worrisome qualifying from the Ganassi guys. You get deep. Put yourself in, the team manager, the lead engineer, the strategist. What do you tell your guys early on about a 500 miler?
It's all about being consistent. It's all about keeping up with the program. At that point of the race, just keep solid. Those guys that are further back in the pack, and we've already talked about Montoya, those guys that are further back, they've got to let this race come to them. You can very easily lose a race on the opening laps, but you're not going to win it. You've got to stay consistent right through this very long, grueling race.
Have to give some props to Pippa Mann. That was an encouraging qualifying position as she outdid the likes of Briscoe, Montoya, Sage Karam, who was quick in qualifying PT. It didn't work out for the youngster in qualifying.
No, they threw a strange setup at it. Look at Ed Carpenter again. He's struggling near the back. His teammate up front. Huge crash by Charlie Kimball in qualifying, and Stefano Coletti crashed in the practice, and they couldn't get the car ready for qualifying. So, you know, like Steve said, I mean, you're at the back here for Montoya. He's got to be careful not to get involved in somebody else's problem here as we go green and just get through the first couple pit stops.
All right, we're going to rely heavily on our onboards today during this 500 miles, and we go on board the man who had a spectacular ride yesterday, Charlie Kimball, with thanks to Novolog. We'll have this and some other views of the 83 Chip Ganassi car. The points leader, Juan Pablo Montoya, and he has this view with thanks to the naming rights sponsor of the series, of course, Verizon. We'll share this view. Ryan Briscoe is today the day that he delivers whilst filling in for James Hinchcliffe. We'll see. Ryan has had some good ones, and his view is brought to us by Lucas Oil. To Tony Kanaan, TK, with thanks to NTT Data, we'll have this view. And Tony has some very much unfinished business at this racetrack, as he will openly tell you. We transition to his teammate, Scott Dixon. We'll have this helmet cam and some other views as well aboard the three-time champion's car. And Graham Rahal brings us the Verizon streaming aboard the Steak and Shake car. Remember, it's adrenaline on demand. Download the IndyCar 15 mobile app to get amazing live streams from in-car cameras and a whole lot more, only from Verizon. And of course, you remember the new light system on the side of the cars that will give you the updated positions, including the stops, the duration of the pit stops. So, as we mentioned in IndyCar Live, the captain, Roger Penske, can he do the double? Steve and I have done the double today. Can the captain do the double? Joey Logano last night at Bristol. Can one of his four drivers do it here today? So much excitement surrounding this event, not only because it's at Pocono for the third year in a row, it's the final oval of the year, the final 500-miler. Let's go. Do we get a clean start? It's waved off.
No start.
Brian Barnhart and race control not happy with Helio Castro Neves and the Penske duo at the front. The field not packed up, and that was messy to say the best.
I don't know what was going on there, but Castro Neves went on the entry to turn 3, and you would think he would at least give the courtesy to the guys in the middle of the field to get around the corner. So I was a little bit over-optimistic on that one. I think he wanted to get it spread out, get it going.
Yeah, overly keen to get going, I think there.
So a chance to regroup. And there's the acceleration zone there. You see the cones hanging off the fence. So, and there's the end of it. So that's in that period, in that part of the track where you can go. And race control, we can tell you this from the meetings that we have with the guys, from Brian and everybody. Derek Walker in his second to last event. They want them packed up tight.
And don't forget, this straightaway is longer than the straightaway at Indianapolis. This is the longest straightaway in racing. So lots of drafting. There's going to be some passing. Go.
Helio anxious to go again. And I think they're going to wave this off again.
You'll be looking for a penalty if you keep pulling that move.
Yellow flag again.
That is not a smart move by Castro Neves to be going that early. He one more of those and you could get put to the back.
Helio is anxious. Remember, he is one of our championship contenders. He's fourth in the points race. But again, just watch this. He's right alongside his teammate. But this is just so obvious, so blatant. And Simon Pagenaud wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it's way, way, way too early. So Simon's like, hey, what's going on here? They should be waiting till they get around off of turn 3 before they even go. So I'm sure he's going to get a warning here.
And we can confirm that. Race control have communicated to...
Right side on that steady pace right there until you exit turn 3. You're going too early.
Simple as that.
Yeah, you're going too early. You can't do it.
Ready to go. Third time lucky, perhaps? We'll see.
Still going early. Look at...
He is again. And he's gone before that acceleration zone once again. Will we see green this time? Are they going to be happy with it? It looks like it is. Yeah, green here.
We are green, we are green.
Time to bring the action in Pocono.
Well, you can see why he wanted to go early. He got swarmed and has been passed by 3 cars down the front straightaway, Steve.
Joseph Newgarden right around the outside,
Got
straight to
around
the
the
lead.
outside. Will Power trying to make a move also down low, but absolutely right, PT. It didn't take long, did it? Absolutely swarmed straight out of the start.
Look at that blue and silver car. Justin Wilson in the Honda for Andretti Autosport. He's already up into the top 5.
Will Power was on the bottom in turn 1 and had a huge moment, a huge wiggle. He got to get out of the throttle and lost a bunch of positions.
Graham Rahal in that first all-red car. Almost contact with Carlos Munoz. And Tony Kanaan is hot, Steve, to get going early.
Yeah, all of these guys again, and look at this line forming. Is
Look at Justin Wilson. He's moved up a few spots. He's right on the back.
Remember the last race at Mid-Ohio, Justin Wilson finished runner-up. He had a shot at winning it, but he said, I didn't want to do anything to disrupt Graham Rahal's race. He's in it for the championship. I'm kind of here part-time, helping Andretti Autosport and Honda out. Let's ride with the man who's a championship hopeful, Graham Rahal.
He's got this one.
Looking inside.
No, he's going to have to keep it down tight and use the draft on the front straightaway. If he can hold it tight here, he should have no problem drafting up and getting all the way down here on the front straight.
-1, +2. Mix 3.
You can hear Graham on the throttle. He's not able to go flat in this draft. He's having to check the throttle a little bit through the middle of the corner, upshifting on this short straight to the tunnel turn. Right now, Steve, everybody's probably settled in now and thinking, okay, now it's where we're at. Let's save a little fuel and see how this all plays out.
yeah, it was a very fast and frantic.
Restart aboard Graham Rahal. Watch Carlos Munoz to his right. Does he get a better start? Munoz and he were going wheel to wheel through the first 2 turns. There goes Munoz. This is Honda on Honda. Whoa! And there goes Justin Wilson. And he went whipping on through on the inside.
Yeah.
Not a lot of favors from your Honda teammates on that one, so pretty tricky start.
Watch this. These guys almost came together, Munoz and Rahal down the back straight.
Wow, that close.
Frantic opening lap.
Shook their heads a little bit at that one.
Sure, they're not sure what they were doing to Coletti's car there, Paul. They had the right front wheel, rim and tyre off as they were working around the brake, but it was obviously taking it a long time.
Ryan Briscoe has never qualified better than 16th, except for his second place start at Milwaukee. When I asked him why they have so much trouble in qualifying, he says, we would really much rather focus on our race car. It's just a team decision. We're able to dig ourselves out of that hole. So you see Ryan Briscoe being the biggest mover today here at Pocono.
And Ryan has some unfinished business as well. Remember the great runs that he'd had earlier in the year, all to no avail. Back up front, it's looking good for CFH Racing, and that's the F in CFH. That's Sarah Fisher, a very accomplished driver in her own right, now co-team owner, and her 24-year-old American driver, Joseph Newgarden, has led 19 laps so far.
Joseph Newgarden continues to lead here at Pocono. Graham Rahal, who came in 9 points behind Juan Pablo Montoya in the championship, continues to drop a few spots. 8th, now back to 9th. He said the car is fine. Many are talking about handling problems and understeer. He said we're just not fast enough. We're going to need to trim out at the first pit stop. Jan?
And you're talking about what's going to happen in pit stop. Sarah Fisher, of course, watching Joseph Newgarden. You said that Joseph is a little bit loose. Is that correct? He's going to take some front wing out?
Yes, just a little bit. You know, we're just running our race, getting into the rhythm, and making some fine-tune adjustments.
But the way this weekend started, this has got to just be very encouraging because it didn't start well, and now it seems like it's all nice and balanced.
Well, you know, a little bit of weather change, a little bit of day and hour change, and here we are. So we're just lucky, but everybody else has the same conditions, so we're facing that too.
Okay, well, if your car's a little bit loose, what you want to do is you want to be leading. They'll adjust that in the first stop, and of course, Joseph Newgarden would love to win a race on an oval, as you said, Lee.
Well, Jan, as we all know, Joseph Newgarden is a real star. He's not only a rising star, he's a star now GP3 in Europe, a very diverse driver, his Indy Lights title, and then of course coming to IndyCar, but it took a while for him to get that first IndyCar win. Paul Tracy, how different were you as a person, as a driver, after you cracked that first one? You got that first IndyCar win.
Well, I mean, I think for any driver, once you are able to win the first race, it opens the floodgates, and it just is the same for Rahal. Even though he had won a race 7 years earlier, as soon as he won again, oh, we got our first leader, which is Newgarden coming in the pits.
Leader on pit road as we race lap 29.
And watch for the front wing change that Sarah Fisher just told us about. They're going to take a little bit out. This is early if you were saving fuel, but we talked about the fact in there, oh, they decided not to do the wing after all. They did it with tire pressure. So just over 8 second stop for Joseph Newgarden. It'll put him in a different cycle. Again, he's going full gas and burning fuel. The people behind are saving fuel.
Yeah, look like the mechanics, Jan, look like the mechanics were very eager to change that front wing. Maybe heard over their radio, no, we've decided against it. But the mechanic's hand was on the adjuster.
See more cars peeling off. Those Penske cars are making good fuel mileage. That's a 2-lap advantage over Newgarden for Pagenaud.
Scott Dixon, of course, who was great at making fuel mileage, is also going a little bit of the Joseph Newgarden way and deciding, let's go for it. And there's a caution. So this is going to work for Scott Dixon or anybody else who's on their way into pit lane.
Jack Hawksworth, as Rahal is released, Hawksworth appeared to have lost a wheel. He has set the fastest lap in this race, but what has happened to the young Englishman? Jack Hawksworth in the ABC supply car for AJ Foyt Racing has indeed lost a rear left wheel.
And that's a massive penalty for Castro Neves, Power, and Pagenaud. Now they're stuck and having to pit under yellow. They'll go to the back of the field now.
He had just pitted, and there it is. Jack Hawksworth, who has not such good memories of this Pocono Raceway after a massive accident in practice here last year. One that he will never forget when he slammed into the wall at around just under 200 miles an hour. Now the youngster, the second-year racer, really has his hands full to try and get back to pit lane. So Simon Pagenaud, race leader, did not pit. And we go down the order as everybody will regroup as we fast approach quarter race distance. And everybody gets to regroup, communicate at a little bit more of a slower pace, Steve, as to how their cars have been in this opening stint and what needs to be adjusted.
Yeah, and it was a very unusual situation with that wheel coming off, wasn't it? Can I have to assume just pit error by the mechanics trying to get the car out? But the problem now is how much damage done to the underside of the car. Let's have a look in replay, see if we can see what happened.
So he's none of those guys there. No. Not in that group. So that's Briscoe Canaan and Ryan Hunter-Ray with their respective race off pit road. There's Graham Rahal. And it was a pretty tight race indeed. So Pagenaud, Power, Castro Neves, Sage, Karam and Montoya yet to pit, and this is where it happened.
Right at the exit of turn 1. Left rear out.
Charlie Kimball will give us a pretty interesting view here.
Luckily, it was the inside rear tire which allowed it to roll towards the inside of the track. If it was the outside rear tire, it would have rolled out onto the track more than what it was right there for Montoya. So that was a very lucky thing for Montoya there.
That was close enough, wasn't it?
Remember what happened last time we were on an oval at Iowa. This man here, the points leader, Juan Pablo Montoya, had a suspension failure and slammed him in to the turn 1 wall.
Open, we're going to add total. We'd like to try the total. 10-4.
This is not a great break for Montoya being not pitting, so this is going to keep him towards the back of the field.
All right, now there's a scramble on pit lane. It is going to be busy down there. Katie, we're going to kick it off with you.
Simon Pagenaud leans on team advisor and 3-time Pocono winner Rick Mears when it comes to ovals. Today, Rick said patience is key. His team said said just settle in, Kevin.
Juan Pablo Montoya went a little lighter on downforce the minute to start the race, but they're going to add some on this pit stop. Montoya taking a little extra time. John?
And Castro Neves just leaves, and he just misses the tire of Bourdais, and he loses that position. And guys, they added a bunch of front wing to Castro Neves.
Our pole sitter, Helio Castro Neves. Is this when he finally gets his first win of 2015? Is this when he really takes a major step forward in this championship? And at AJ Foyt Racing, there might be still a little bit of head scratching going on. Check this out at Team Penske. This is Helio Castro Neves.
See how much front wing they did put into the car here to try and make the front of the car a little more solid. There it is. Yeah, actually quite a significant front wing adjustment, as Jan was explaining.
It's always tight exiting on IndyCar pit roads. No different there for Helio. Back to Pocono in just a moment. What turn 4? That's right. 3 are enough. More than enough. Here at the Tricky Triangle, Pocono Raceway. I'm going to take you back to this story. Look down midway, right of your screen. Jack Hawksworth there, and this rear wheel issue. And there's lots of waving. No, 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 we're not ready.
Yeah, just miscommunication again down in the pit lane, as we've seen a couple of times this season. But the guys on the rear of the car simply indicating, hey, we're just nowhere near ready. What are you doing releasing the car? But PT, once the driver gets a signal to go, what are you going to do?
I mean, once the car drops on the ground, that's kind of the signal that I'm going. And oh, he's back with his teammate. Maybe they can work together.
Otto's behind you.
Is he on the lead left? Copy, let him back.
Communication from within inside the AJ Foyt camp. And speaking of the legend AJ Foyt, up against some health issues again, was in hospital again for another operation. AJ, Supertex, we send you all the best wishes and a speedy recovery. Had a suffering from a staph infection again on a knee surgery. So AJ, get better. We want to see you back at the track again soon. Let's get ready to bring the action again. Here we go. Restart, and look at them shadowing each other.
It's going to work for him. But Munoz still making an advantage, and there's another incident. Bourdais into the wall.
The master of Milwaukee over and out in Pocono.
Wow. What happened there?
The guy who put on an absolute clinic in Wisconsin comes to a pretty severe crunch here. This man who is 6th in the championship chase. Yes, a championship contender mathematically. He's having a really good season. However, it's come to an abrupt end here in Pocono. Jan?
And Lee, just before they went green, he was on the radio saying the throttle is sticking again. So I have no idea if that led to this, but very interesting that before the restart, he was having some type of throttle-related issue.
Well, that's not a good feeling, Steve, to have the throttle stick. We hope that is not the case where he went into turn 1, but let's have a look here.
The view from Charlie Kimball.
Oh. He just went in a little too hot and got into gray, and that was it. Unless the throttle hung open a little bit and he had to go into the gray. That's the question mark.
Yeah. That's it exactly, isn't it, PT? Did the driver keep his foot down too much, or did the engine simply do it on its own accord?
At which point do you stop fighting it, or you don't have a choice?
In that case, when you get down into turn 1 here after this long straightaway and you check off the throttle and say, okay, I'm slowing down now, if it continues to keep going, you're kind of a passenger. You really have no time to react, and it looks maybe like that could have been a problem because he just kind of, instead of running into the back of the other car, he ran up into the gray and started to slide. But I hope that is not the case, but it certainly kind of looks that way.
James Sully Sullivan on the left, and legendary IndyCar driver, now team owner Jimmy Vasser on our right. And they did not need that to happen, big picture wise. What a shame for Seabass, Sebastian Bourdais. He is okay though, walked under his own power. The cleanup continues, as you can see the back of your picture there here in the ABC Supply 500, presented by MAV TV, and that is the car of Sebastian Bourdais. And Jan, this is a double whammy because just a few laps ago, Stefano Coletti, his teammate, retired, so it's a double hit for the team.
It is, and of course Jimmy Vasser is on the radio to Sebastian Bourdais, and he was talking a little bit about a sticking throttle. Could that have contributed?
You never know till you get back. Looks to us like the throttle was working fine at the restart, and we didn't get a chance to talk to him yet. It looked like, you know, he just got up a little high, and then he got behind Chavez there in turn one in some dirty air, and it just came around on him. But, you know, of course, until we talk to him and get back and look at the data, we don't have all the answers. We can just go by what we see, and you know, we were struggling there a little bit on the first run to try to get the Mystic car right for him, and you know, it's unfortunate. We really needed to have good race today, good points, and with Coletti going out early, you know, it's a long way back west for some of us. You know, have a short day today.
Well, next on the docket for Jimmy, the home race in Sonoma. Thank you, Jimmy.
You talk about a power operation there when you've got the likes of Jimmy Vasser, a championship-winning driver in his own right, Bourdais, a four-time champion, Steve Moore, who was just a terrific team leader and strategist, and then you've got veteran engineer Bill Pappas as well, sharing it with you know, the likes of Matt Curry on the other side of things. But it's just a really great engineering stuff and a good team. And for them to have a double DNF, that really hurts. How about CFH Racing? The C in the team is this man here, Ed Carpenter, driver of the number 20 Fuzzy Chevrolet. Will not be in the car next weekend in Sonoma, of course. Does not do the road and street courses any longer. They're on to a good thing, bringing in Luca Filippi, who's performed very well, got on the podium, runner-up finish at Toronto earlier this year. They've got a good thing going on, and they've got a really good thing going on at the moment because Newgarden leads the way, and Ed is in the top 10 in 9th.
Well, after qualifying yesterday, he was so frustrated. His car was so bad, and he was unhappy. And then his teammate's car with a slightly different setup was up front, and the option really was to go full stop setup. So let's see what's going on in the pits here.
Jack Hawksworth is going to come in and top off. We saw the replay with the problem with the wheel nut not staying on, and I did confirm with the team that it was an equipment malfunction. So give some credit to the guys. This is not human error in this case. That was an equipment problem.
Plenty of time, buddy. Plenty of time here.
How frustrating is that, Steve, from a team perspective?
Well, an equipment problem, you know, it is very frustrating, but there must also be communication between the guys working around the car to make sure that everybody is aware the car is ready to be released. If it's not, it shouldn't be released.
So 2 cautions, and we continue to crank out those caution laps as we say thanks for being with us here live on NBCSN. Lee Diffie, Paul Tracy, Steve Matchett, and we've got Robin Miller, Katie Hargett, Jan Beekes, and Kevin Lee working pit road for us here at the Tricky Triangle on a beautiful afternoon. The final oval and the final 500-miler of the year in the Verizon IndyCar Series. Sonoma next weekend, and the 2015 championship is wrapped up, but just who will be our champion as we go back to green here at Pocono? Joseph Newgarden leads the field with a pretty racy Justin Wilson looking strong in second.
That was a pretty good restart by Wilson. He pops out in the draft.
Wilson to the low side and to the lead of the race.
Montoya dropped low also on that restart. I think he was looking at what Munoz did on the previous restart.
And Newgarden wants straight back to the lead. He says, okay, you got it, but I'm not giving it up. So he comes right back into the lead.
Carlos Munoz in third. You've got 2 Andretti Autosport cars right there. Honda powered, chasing the Chevy of Newgarden, and that bright blue car is TK. Tony Kanaan, the series winner back in 04, the Indy 500 winner, a veteran and one of the most loved and liked drivers in this series, runs a very strong fourth with his target Chip Montoya.
Much closer racing now than we saw in the first segment. The guys have got a better handle on their cars. They've all made adjustments, so there's less stringing out. There's a closer pack here, so as the race keeps going, the guys are going to get their cars even better, Steve, and the racing will tighten up and get closer.
Well, we've seen after that first pit stop, Paul, a lot more downforce put onto the front of the car, across to the front of the wing to try and keep that part of the car stable. That seems to have made a big difference across the pack.
Hey guys, just got an update from race control. We saw that wild restart, pretty slick for Montoya, but the 22 of Simon Pagenaud and the 27 of Marco Andretti also got a warning, and they were told to stay center line to center line. What do you make of that?
Well, I was, you know, these restarts and starts, other than the Castro Neves, was a really quick start. That was brought down pretty slow, and guys were ready to go in the back there, and obviously we can't follow Canan.
They're by 4 back to Dixon.
Canan moving forward. He's a guy that can win here very easily.
See, Munoz just dropped low there to try and have a look around and see what was happening at the front, but it didn't work, and then Canan pounced.
Ryan Hunter-Reay now on Scott Dixon. Draws alongside the three-time champ, and Captain America whistles through. What a frustrating season RHR has had, but a little bit of sunshine back in Iowa. Now, Penske on Penske, Pagenaud on Montoya. Remember what Paul Tracy said in IndyCar Live at the top of the show? These Penske guys will not be doing each other any favors because they're all mathematically eligible to win this title.
Look at Juan, he's got to watch out for Ed behind him and Sage on the move as well. Sage will not do Montoya any favors because he's working on behalf of Scott Dixon.
The whole
chopped across the front of Munoz, and he ran up high, and now his teammate comes around, and Scott Dixon will be looking as well.
Yeah. And thank you very much. And Dixon's in the draft of Monterey. He has to check up and allow the young Colombian back around him.
Got some racing going on now.
Now we're talking. Here comes Rahal lining up for a shot on Dixon. Gotcha.
Wow, made that look easy, didn't he?
Nice job.
Once you lose your rhythm, it's pretty obvious what happens.
Yeah, it's so important to keep your momentum up and time your passes. As soon as you have to get out of the throttle, it just allows the other guy behind you to pounce.
Ed Carpenter now in the grill. Now Briscoe wants to get in the action.
Outside Marco, 5 back.
Difficult place to pass, too wide in the tunnel turning. Briscoe thought better of that. He backed out of it. Got to re-time your pass again.
Up front, it's still Newgarden. There he is, smooth, efficient, not a problem. If you need a reminder of the bravery of the young man, right back to the Indy 500 3 years ago when he was on debut and finished second. It was incredible. Let's ride with Dixon and see what happens here.
As we see Dixon, he went to go inside, but there's nowhere to go. He had to get out of the throttle. And as soon as you check the throttle and lose that momentum, here comes Rahal, and he just scoots by on the inside. He tries to block, but Rahal's already by on the inside.
Boy, it doesn't take much, Paul, does it? Just a fraction of a second. Coming off that throttle, lose the momentum, you've lost place. Here comes Canan.
For the lead of the race, Tony Canan goes to the front for the first time today. The NTT data machine leads the way for Chip Ganassi.
Hey, and already Newgarden wants that position back, doesn't he? He does not like yielding that first position. Now the gap's opening up a little bit.
Let's check in with Jan Beekes. Jan?
A quick update on Scott Dixon, and certainly you documented so well he lost momentum, but they took 3 turns and another move by Munoz, and 3 turns they took out of the rear wing of Dixon. He immediately got on the radio, guys, we went too light. So yes, he lost momentum, but he doesn't have enough downforce. If someone makes a move on him, he can't hang with them.
Look at these guys shadowing each other. Dixon now pulls out of the draft of Hunter-Reay and unable to do anything about it.
Yeah, so what they did with Dixon's car is they took some rear downforce off the car. So now he's sliding around a little bit. Now the pack is tighter. He needed less downforce to be able to catch the pack. Now that the pack is tighter, he doesn't have enough downforce to stay close to the other cars.
Now we're into the second quarter of this 500-miler. You kind of feel things ramping up a little bit, don't you? This has got all the ingredients of a classic. Tony Canan, the veteran, leads the way at Pocono. He wants to get that win that he feels he should have had last year. Hey, the Premier League continues on NBCSN this weekend. Tomorrow at 2 Eastern, it's Liverpool against Arsenal at the very impressive and beautiful Emirates Stadium. Arsenal-Liverpool tomorrow at 2 Eastern, right here on NBCSN. Look at that crowd. Beautiful afternoon here at Pocono, and they're being treated to quite the race in the Verizon IndyCar Series, the ABC Supply 500. What a day of open wheel racing. All started earlier today from Spa-Francorchamps with the Belgian Grand Prix. And here we go, we finish it off with a 500 miler in IndyCar action. Look at this. Ed Carpenter on the inside of the points leader. This is a spirited run by Carpenter. He really wants to finish his personal season on a high because he won't be at the road course at Sonoma next weekend. As we ride with Ryan Briscoe, the race is led by a man who is in his 248th consecutive IndyCar start. It's Tony Kanaan, who could create a special little piece of history today by becoming the first driver in IndyCar Series history to win a 500-mile race at 4 different tracks. That'd be pretty good for your old pal.
I'll tell you what, Dixon's got a run there. He had a good exit on the corner. He's got nowhere to go again now. So, again, Ryan Hunter-Reay saw that move for him, and he blocked the inside, and there was just nowhere for him to go. And look, he lost that momentum, and here comes Rahal again. So it's all about momentum, Steve. If you get that run and you've got nowhere to go, as soon as you have to get out of the throttle on this massive 2.5-mile oval, it really pays you a penalty.
These guys seem to be, Paul, they have about a second and a half to make the move work, or it fails. There's too much drag across the car, you lose the momentum, you've got to pull back in again. I mean, you've got to be so decisive, so fast to make this work.
Yeah, as you see, Briscoe pull back in line. That is a very, very difficult corner to go too wide. So he wasn't close enough, and he realized instead of getting in there and having to get out of the throttle totally, he just slightly lifted off the throttle, got back in line, and didn't really lose any time.
Charlie Kimball, the man who had that spectacular crash in qualifying yesterday in the Novo Nordisk entry for Chip Ganassi Racing, gets a little bit back, a little bit of a sweetener. He owns the fastest lap of the race thus far as we race lap 64 of 200. And
so
at the moment, he sits 9 positions better than where he started, Steve.
Yeah, Charlie still, Paul, making some adjustments in the car there. We saw his hands coming off the steering wheel. Just trying to fight. Here we go again, look. There it is. It's just not enough, is it?
Munoz on Joseph Newgarden. Kanaan, Newgarden, Munoz. Here comes the second Andretti Autosport car. Ryan Hunter-Reay pulls out of the draft of his teammate. Is it enough?
You see a guy right behind you who's ready to go. And we're going to get pit stops any moment because they've been running some long laps here.
Andretti Autosport well represented, and Marco Andretti doing his best. He's made up 9 spots from his starting position at the back of the pack. Here comes race leader Kanaan. Straight to pit lane. So Tony showed us exactly what he wants to do.
And Newgarden comes in as well.
Kev, take it away. You're up first.
Last time Tony Kanaan took off downforce, they took away wing angle in the rear wing. They didn't touch the front wing. This time dealing with a little bit of understeer, so we'll watch and see what they do to address that. Kanaan trying to win for the first time since the 500-mile race that finished last season at Fontana. Tony Kanaan getting Sunoco fuel, 4 Firestone 4 Harks, and no change of the front wing, Jan.
And he rolls just before does Joseph Newgarden. And of course, it's a battle to the timeline. Joseph Newgarden maintains that position, or in fact, improves position, of course, on Kanaan. That last move, and they're going to battle as they get up to speed. That was by design. The team said, you're burning too much fuel, Joseph. You got to back off. Go ahead and let Kanaan go by. Here come the rest of the group. Katie?
Carlos Munoz was the highest qualifying Andretti Autosport car. He now led a pack of 3 Andretti cars. Are saying work together on this stop. Kevin?
Ryan Hunter-Reay has worked his way up into contention today, starting a little further back than he wanted. He wasn't sure what he had. He was cautiously optimistic with the car. Good stop. Jan?
And Scott Dixon, we'll see if they do take the opportunity. They put a little bit, and they go, yes, they go to the rear wing to add some, but it took precious time, so he lost a few positions for Dixon. And Rahal's got trouble.
And they can't get the fuel nozzle in. They couldn't get the fuel in, and you see the time from the LED display. They've been in the pits now for 26 seconds, and under green flag conditions, a nearly 30-second stop is disastrous.
For the second 500-mile race in a row, there's been a fuel problem, a fuel-related problem for the Steak and Shake machine. Frustration for Ray Hall.
Well, at least this time he didn't leave it plugged in, so he can recover. We're only just over a quarter way in. There's a long way to go.
Simon Pagenaud leading the race, but let's revisit that story. And keep in mind, he did win the race, but he dodged a bullet because this one here evaded race control. They didn't quite get a clear view of this, and even though it caused a full course caution, there was no penalty in the moment for Graham Rahal, and he was able to drive to victory lane. Jan?
Charlie Kimball is bringing this brand new car. Of course, it's a spare car that they rolled out of the transporter, and the fact that earlier you said he did the fastest lap of the race, that shows the kind of preparation. He didn't make the final practice because you can have a spare car, but you can't have a spare car with an engine in it. So he only had one lap this morning, and this car obviously came really nicely off the transporter.
Kimball back up to speed. Katie?
Simon Pagenaud said Indianapolis was a very good lesson in staying in the race, both mentally and physically. His team is going to give him 4 Firestone tires and fill him up with Sunoco fuel as he pits from the lead. Kevin?
They added downforce last time for Juan Pablo Montoya. You see him in as Pagenaud pulls away. This time he said it's too slow. Brakes on the front wing as Pagenaud gets out. Montoya follows him. He wanted to be able to trim it out again a little bit.
So as Pagenaud and Juan Pablo Montoya exit, here comes the pack. Ryan Hunter-Reay ahead of Munoz and Canaan as the Penske boys build to speed. Look at the difference there. And Pagenaud far more effectively up to speed.
Car outside.
That shows you what the effect of doing an extra couple laps, Steve. Montoya was running back about 12th or 13th, ran that extra couple laps, and now is in the top 5.
Yeah. His power.
Will Power, of course, could stop a little bit later than some of the others. Of course, Helio Castro-Neves will be the last of the Penske, and they make an adjustment as well. Castro-Neves, remember, he has a little different strategy as the train rolls on by the front straightaway.
Coming around here, let's try.
And look where Power cycles in, but the pack is up to full speed, 200+ miles per hour here at the Pocono Raceway. And Will Power desperately trying to get up to speed as the others try to get around him. Here's Castro-Neves back on pit road. So too Sato and Vautier, all on the same strategy.
Yes, and Castro-Neves only got one more lap than Will Power. That means he's been standing on the gas trying to gain positions. He goes with sticker Firestones, waiting for that last bit. That was a quick, but when they disconnected after getting that Sunoco fuel, it seemed like just a moment before he got going. Let's see where he cycles in.
How about Simon Pagenaud able to get in, get out, and keep the pack at bay for the moment? Here's Helio on the low line. Where's he going to slot back in?
Well, luckily he'll get up to speed. As soon as he hits the back straightaway, he'll get the toe here, slot into line, and that will help him get up to speed a lot quicker as Munoz and his teammate come around. This will be a brave move here, trying to go 2 abreast as Wilson pulls it off.
Whether it was Art Sincere at HPD at Honda, whether it was Michael Andretti, whomever it was, thank you for putting Justin Wilson back in a race car. So many people pleased to see the lanky Englishman back behind the wheel of an IndyCar where he belongs, and again showing just how good he is.
Hunter-Reay looks really good today. I think he let Pagenaud back by, and he is content to sit here and ride. He's a cagey driver. He knows how to win 500s.
Speaking of Indy 500s, many of your loyal fan base will still argue that you won the 2002 Indy 500. However, this year Simon Pagenaud was in the mix, and Tim Cindric, president of Penske Racing, said he could have won, but he was impatient. He wanted it too soon in the race. You understand what he's talking about?
Well, of course I do. I would say that I have the same mentality as we watch Rahal come around here. He really is going to need a yellow here because he lost so much time. He's 3/4 of a lap behind now, so he's going to need to catch a break.
Yeah, what do you have?
Paul, Ricardo Knott on the radio has been trying to calm Graham down. He was talking just a moment ago, Graham was about, we're going to get lapped. We just don't have enough speed. They said, we're okay. You've still got a full straightaway advantage on the leaders. Stay in it. We can still make something happen out of this. No problem with the fuel nozzle. They just couldn't get it attached, so they didn't have to make any change there. They did get it full of fuel, though, so they don't have to take an extra stop out of this.
It must be so frustrating for Rahal and the crew, but when you look at the Penske guys, there is just something about them, Paul, they just look such a well-drilled crew. That's going to catch him out, but the difference between the crews is quite incredible.
Well, let's not forget that at Iowa Speedway, Rahal went down as much as 2 laps behind the leader and came back to finish in the top 4. We've got a long way to go, and nobody knows that better than the 16-time Indy 500 winning team owner, Roger Penske. His man's up front. Couldn't ask for a better afternoon to finish this amazing weekend of motorsport we've had here on your home of motorsport, NBCSN. Here in the Pocono Mountains, we have got a beautiful day and a terrific race and a new race leader. Helio Castro-Neves has been carving them up. He's been going the high side, the low side, whatever works. And this man here, who is still in search, yes, even as a 3-time Indy 500 winner, he's still in search of his maiden IndyCar title. And look at this, to the oohs and the ahs of the crowd, he was able to do it.
Well, he made a bunch of changes on the first 2 stops. He's been up and down on the front wing, trying to get the balance right. And since he came out of this last round of pit stops, he's been rocking and rolling. He's passed about 5 cars and 3 cars in succession in the last 3 laps and into the lead.
How about that, Steve?
Well, the balance of the car has changed completely, but you're right. I mean, the fans around the grandstands, a great salute there of everything that Castro-Neves has done. Jan?
And with Roger Penske on the radio with Helio, he's flying. Have you turned him loose and told him to use fuel?
Well, I think we got the car the way we want it now. We had a good stop there. I think the strategy on the field was good. We sat back there to get a couple extra laps to get caught up, but a long way to go, 120 laps, so I think we need to stay focused here. He's doing a great job.
Helio keeps saying you need to do something different. Are you doing something different right now than the others?
Well, I think we're different. We're leading right now.
Thank you, Roger.
And Jan, to your point, Helio really is doing something different because Pagenaud was playing a more strategical game. When Helio went by him, his first lap in the lead was 9 miles an hour faster than the last lap that Pagenaud had led. So there's the difference in their outlook.
You can see his car is handling really well. He's not having to float up to the wall. He's able to run a tighter lines, which means the handling is good. The car is fast. He's pulling away from his teammates. So he's got a car that's on rails right now.
Absolutely transformed for the first few laps. It was nowhere close to being correct. Look at it now.
Look at this guy, Danger Boy. We're going to start calling him Sage Danger Boy. He's up there racing with power. He's been mixing it up with Ed, and here he comes on power again.
A rookie on the reigning series champion. There's no lack of bravery from either of these men.
Still down there.
You know the movie that's been getting some pretty good reviews and very popular, Straight Outta Compton?
Yeah.
Sage Karam put a social media message recently, Straight Outta Nazareth. Nazareth, Pennsylvania. He's proud of his home state and his hometown, and this is his home track. And his first appearance in an IndyCar here. He wants to perform for his family and friends. Look at the gap. The 2 Brazilians up front, Castro-Neves and Canaan. Here comes R8. He's led more laps in this race, though, than Joseph Newgarden, who's a little further back. And Karam, the rookie, around the outside of Carlos Munoz.
Not afraid, is he, Steve?
There is no fear there. There is no fear.
Oh, to be 19 again.
Well, and we've just been talking about the same thing there. As we look at our Chevrolet driver profile there, as Lee was saying, straight out of Nazareth, Pennsylvania, 13 career IndyCar starts. And yeah, there is no fear when you're a young race driver.
And look at that in the New York Times, the new face of IndyCar racing. Yep, he'll take that. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of fans will as well. He's got an exciting style. It may not be compliant with his peers. Hey, but you were that way as well.
I'll tell you what, I saw his dad in the...
Oh!
Here we go.
That's Jack Hawksworth.
That is not what these guys wanted. Jack was struggling at the back, but wow.
Jack Hawksworth and Charlie Kimball. And neither driver was happy with each other. Second crash in 2 days for Charlie Kimball. Uncharacteristic for the Californian. He gets going and leaves the stranded Hawksworth. Only the replay will decipher what happened here.
Now be careful there when you have your front wing stuffed underneath the car that can lift the car off the front wheels off the ground, Steve, and end up putting you in the wall.
So easily done. Now remember,
so as the whole Matro safety team arrive, let's have a look, fellas.
On board with Charlie in this newly built car from yesterday's accident.
Oh.
Whoa! Jeepers.
Well, we'd like to see a different angle, but it looks like Hawksworth was there and Charlie turned in and they touched wheels, and as we see, he's there. Charlie came down. Oh, he got a little loose.
Yeah.
So Hawksworth got squeezed down tight and he got loose and it stepped up and into Charlie, and then that was it.
You're right, it was the rear of the car, wasn't it? Just broke free a little bit on Hawksworth and then just came up into Charlie Kimball.
Was a little late getting in there. It was a late pass, but he was there. And obviously got loose because he was down low on that yellow line. The car got loose and bounced off of Charlie, and then obviously he spun right in front of him. Nowhere for Charlie to go.
Nowhere for Charlie to go, and I imagine Hawksworth is going to say the same thing. Where did you want me to go?
Problem they have with the big accident yesterday is they might not have the spares to fix this, because he had a massive shunt yesterday.
This is it. In excess of 200 miles an hour. Single car qualifying. It ended like this. Oh, that's violent. So violent. And he came away with a scratch on his chin. Seriously. That was all. Speaking volumes as to the safety of modern day Indy cars and IndyCar racing. Look at that. Straight away the thumbs up from Charlie Kimball. Jan?
And when you talk about that, I spoke to Dr. Terry Trammell, told me it was 85 G's to the left, 40 G's to the front, and the way they compute that, a total of 94 G impact for Charlie Kimball, and he gave the thumbs up. Nicely done. Now for Joseph Newgarden, we've seen the heat drop back, and that's because the car in traffic picked up understeer. So this caution comes at a perfect time. They can add some downforce, I think, specifically to the front. Remember, he was leading, and they got his car tuned up to lead. Now he dropped back to 13th, and they don't have the right setup, but now they have a chance to correct it.
Nobody even close to the amount of laps led as Joseph Newgarden, 47 of the 86 thus far for Newgarden. And look at the scramble on pit lane. Kev, take it away. You're lucky number one.
Graham Rahal is all the way back in 19th position. Ahead of him, we're going to watch Juan Pablo Montoya as we watch everyone come into their stalls. A very busy pit lane. There's Rahal hitting his marks, and he is going to try to find something to make up some speed. Montoya is going to try to add a little bit of downforce, Jan.
And Castro Neves, whoa, look out, that's Will Power. Will Power lights it up, and can Scott Dixon get by? He does. I was just about to say.
The call from the president of Penske Racing, Tim Cindric, go get him.
Pull him back and we'll start him.
He will not lose a lap. I was going to say that Castro Neves had no changes. He got out clearly ahead of anyone else. And of course, Power was trying to make up that difference. And this is a very slick concrete patch. Too much wheel spin.
We'll get the starter. We're fine. They're on the back straight.
Look on replay of that.
He had the tires lit up here, and he had to get it out around Dixon's car. And the guy's the tire man there, and he whipped it out, and around it went. That's how slick it is on cold tires. So, I mean, it was tough getting out around Dixon's car with a busy pit lane. Dixon's like, where do I go? Should I go around or should I go to the inside?
To the left, to the right.
Reigning champ is released. Awkward moment, but fortunately for Will Power and his team, it happened under caution. Our fourth full course yellow of the day for 15 laps. The collision between Jack Hawksworth and Charlie Kimball. It will be cleaned up and we'll go back racing. You're watching IndyCars here on NBCSN. back at Pocono on the restart and back in time to see the pass for the lead. Brazilian on Brazilian, friend on friend. Canan on Castro Neves. TK leads the way again today. There's the championship leader in the 2, the Verizon Chevrolet. And here comes the rookie Sage Karam in the red and yellow machine.
Danger
up to 3rd.
Boy in the mix. Danger Boy in the mix to 3rd. He overtakes Castro Neves, who was leading just 1 lap ago.
I think only you, Paul Tracy, could nickname him that. And I think that might just stick. Whoa!
Oh!
And it's Graham Rahal. Championship implications here, big time.
That's a big hit right there.
Wow. Who was it with? It was with one of the coin cars. Tristan Vautier. Tristan Vautier and Graham Rahal. His championship hopes have just taken a whopping hit.
Be interesting to see what happens here. These yellows, breed yellows, he doesn't look very happy. He's heading over there, so.
Well, Graham was so frustrated with what happened with the fuel problem earlier on. I think this has now just tipped him over the edge as far as his composure is concerned. Oh boy, oh boy.
And let me tell you, there is a substantial size disparity between Graham Rahal and Tristan Vautier. The whole Metro safety crew will be there. They are there. But Vautier looks like he is going to get a verbal dressing down.
He's backing up. Graham Rahal's moving forward, so he wants to have a word with him. The guys are trying to separate them here. Obviously, this is a huge blow for Graham for the championship.
Yeah.
And by the hand gestures, he's saying, I was right there beside you. What were you thinking? We don't know that. We haven't seen the replay.
Walk away, boys. Walk away and talk about it later when you've caught
I'm
up.
surprised the guys haven't broken this up more, that the safety team and just separated them. Because it can escalate quickly, I know. I know firsthand.
They let you and Bourdais and you and Tagliani
It
go
can
out.
escalate real quick, real fast.
Well, this is far from a humorous situation. Graham Rahal, the championship contender, up against Juan Pablo Montoya. And his day, he was up against it earlier in the day due to that little hiccup on the pit lane with the fuel.
Outside, inside, side by side, 3 wide. No.
I don't know if Tristan had anything to do with that.
It was Justin Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson was chopped him, and he got loose. Well, maybe.
Oh. That tells us a very different story.
Yeah, that's a pretty brave move by Tristan to stuff it in there 3 wide.
Yeah.
At turn 3, that's not going to go.
Where was Vautier going to go? Exactly. Where was he? What was he trying to do there? Let's have another look at it from this angle.
And Rahal saying, oh, he's in the dirt. Rahal saying, what were you doing in that section?
You know, looking at that shot though, I think it looked to me like Graham started to drop down on him.
Well, I'm sure he didn't know he was there. I'm sure Graham was concentrating on the guy on the outside, and so I would imagine that he wouldn't even have known that he stuffed it in there, because he's a car length behind here, and then he just stuffed it down the inside and went to the grass. So I'm sure Graham didn't even know he was there. Yeah. They're already to the corner now. You see, the problem he's got the blue and silver cars coming down on top of Graham, so Graham's got to come down.
Yeah.
And then the coin car just dove in the inside, and we're seeing this in slow motion. That all happens in a 1/10 of a second.
Yeah.
The room on the road was running out rapidly.
Big impact.
Jan?
And I will say that in the drivers' meeting midday today, they had a private session with the drivers and the team managers that they invited myself to participate, and they basically said, if you are not in the championship battle, do not put yourself in a position where you could take a championship contender out. He was very specific, was Derek Walker, president of competition, saying that, look, this championship, if you're out of it, stay out of the way. And I would say for Tristan Vautier, that was a very aggressive move for a guy way out of the championship.
Well, we heard, and Justin Wilson was obviously in that 3-car incident there. Justin Wilson said straight away, post-race at Mid-Ohio, yes, I could have probably been a little tougher on Graham Rahal down into turn 4 at Mid-Ohio, but I didn't. I stayed out of it because I'm not in this championship race. Graham is. So I gave him a little extra room, and I was a little more respectful.
You didn't give him a lot of room there in turn 3, I'll tell you that.
No.
So that was 3 Honda drivers all together, taking out their lead Honda driver. So, you know, it's a really tough break for Graham, and that will pretty much effectively, I would think, cap his championship at this point.
Well, let's not forget double points at Sonoma.
Yeah, true.
Double points at Sonoma, so it's almost like there are 2 races left, even though there's only 1 race weekend. Boy, oh boy, we're racking up the cautions. We're up to 5 in comparison to the last 2 years, 1 and 2. The action is thick and fast in the ABC Supply 500 here at Pocono. Whole Matro safety team doing a great job. We'll try and check in with Graham Rahal when we come back. Despite that last flippant comment, we're looking at a very different Graham Rahal, because not that long ago, we would not have got that mature an answer. He's looking at it very philosophically. He's gutted. He's putting on a brave face. He's gutted. But like he said, we're down, but we're not out.
Oh, and he's had a great season, too. I mean, this has been his best year of his career. The confidence is up. Hey, he's still in it. He still has a chance. But overall, if the season was to end today, I think he'd be pretty satisfied.
Sure. He's never been this high in his IndyCar Series career. Second at the moment. We stress that. At the moment. But guess what? We're just coming up on halfway. Stick around. In front of this impressive crowd at Pocono Raceway, we are right at the halfway mark of the ABC Supply 500 IndyCars here on your home of motorsport, NBCSN. As the crowd, the field, the teams, everybody regroups to get into this second half of the last oval, the last 500 miler of this Verizon IndyCar Series. Let's get you up to speed. If you're just joining us, welcome. We're cleaning up our 5th full course caution, but let's go to the start. 5 wide with the points leader, Juan Pablo Montoya. Can it get any crazier? Just incredible. Right alongside his teammate at lap 66. Drama here, problems for the now out of the race, Graham Rahal. Could not get the fuel nozzle inserted, could not just get it in right to deliver that fuel load, and it was extremely costly to the man challenging in second place. And then we scoot ahead to lap 78. No messing about from Elio Castro Neves, who made his intentions clear. But check out this for craziness. On lap 87, look to the right of your screen. Will Power, whoop, whoop, whoop. It's gone. It was a steep turn around Scott Dixon, and then under power with a slick pit road, just turned it round. And then this brings us to this point here. Tristan Vautier tagging the Steak and Shake Honda of Graham Rahal. Parts flying everywhere, craziness, and one of our key championship contenders out of the race. So I wonder, there's always 2 sides to the story. What's Tristan Vautier's side?
Well, we'll ask him. Your side of the crash.
Second half, we're talking strategy. If you're a regular watcher of 500-mile IndyCar races, you just got to be there in the end. You got to buy a ticket to that last stanza. It's all about strategy. Have a listen to what JPM and his team has to say.
Our game hasn't changed, but the chatter is that guys in front of you don't really want to lead, so you know. We'll be halfway next time. If the opportunity presents that you can lead, we could probably use the point.
The voice of John Booslock, Myron, long-time Penske employee and strategist, and he's holding hands and guiding the veteran Montoya, the championship leader. It's all a little bit of a game of cat and mouse. Who wants to lead, who doesn't want to lead? Watch that third car in shot. He doesn't care. That's the rookie Sage Karam. He's at home, and we go back racing at Pocono. Look at this, Canaan, Pagano, and then the rookie wants to mix it up. Further back in the pack, there's scratch anniversary of Honda's first win with a guy you used to race against, Paul, Andre Ribeiro at the New England 200.
Sage
and
just
Karam's
came in the pit.
Race leader on pit road. Katie Hargett's there. Katie?
Sage Karam was asking for more fuel. He told his team he felt like he was losing ground on restarts, so his team said, use all the fuel you want. He's going to come in, get 4 tires, and fill it up with Sunoco fuel. Lee?
So as we race lap 108.
Clear all the way out, all the way out.
Castroneves to the lead. He got by his teammate. Hunter Ray stalking still. Canan, he'll be a factor at the end of the race.
Still nobody close to even half the amount of laps that Joseph Newgarden has led in this race. Where is Newgarden? Languishing.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Bodywork flying, and everybody's scurrying. Somebody's rear tail pod is gone.
Looks like it was the rear pod, so he got clipped by somebody. That's a bad break for Carpenter.
Pits are not open. Pits are not open. Just stay in line there.
And look at James Jakes. So Jakes was the one behind him, and the Schmidt-Peterson driver is not happy. I think I just heard Ed Carpenter say, is he mad at me?
Well, we're going to see if he chopped him or cut across. When the draft is going like this, the guys are weaving up and down the front straightaway, and you're trying to time your pass.
Let's have another look at it.
Top of your screen, top of your screen.
This is one of those situations where Jakes is going right and Ed's going right, and they're both going for the same piece of real estate, and his front wing caught his pod and just ripped it right off. And you see Jakes pops out and Ed pulls across on him. So I would say Jakes has got a reason to be unhappy.
And look at Marco Andretti there in the yellow Snapple machine just saying, where do I go? Where do I go? This thing's coming at me.
Yeah, you don't want to get hit by that. And so with James Hinchcliffe last year getting hit by a piece of flying a winglet, knocked him unconscious last year at the
Indy Grand Prix.
Indy Grand Prix. You get hit by that pod, you'd be in real trouble.
Now again, I take you back to Iowa, where Ed Carpenter, a veteran in the series and a co-team owner, was livid with Sage Karam for driving unnecessarily aggressive. I wonder what Ed will have to say about that. He's been in the thick of it today, and reason being, he wants to finish on a high. This is his last race of the year. Won't do Sonoma next weekend. And was a little confused as to why James Jakes was frustrated with him. And we keep racking up the cautions. Now 6 for 30 of the 109 laps. Let's go. Boy, the teams have been working overtime on pit road today. So two of our guys, and Kevin Lee's going to kick it off.
Pagenaud is the car in the middle. He comes in second. Elio up top, the leader. And at the bottom, we're going to watch Juan Pablo Montoya, the championship leader, fifth. Should be just 2 more stops right here for Simon Pagenaud. Montoya is going to add a quarter turn of front wing, Jan.
And for Castroneves, he has one more set of sticker fires. Will he go for a half turn? Let's watch how they play out. Here comes Pagenaud. Pagenaud beats him to the line.
Whoa, see how close that was between Montoya and Canan?
Montoya and Canan almost got together, but Montoya comes out in 4th now effectively in terms of the leaders.
This will be interesting to review as the CFH Racing team go to work on the fuzzy Chevrolet for Ed Carpenter.
Yeah, this is a fairly time-consuming change, Steve, because you have to change the whole back wing assembly, everything.
There's an on-board camera shot of Canan's pit stop. Whoa! Wow.
That's what it looked like from Montoya's car. Wrong side, camera's on the wrong side. It's all happening on the left, but there we go.
Yeah, boy, they were close.
Actually, pretty good driving from both guys. The heads up, be open-eyed and open-minded.
Look at the hands on Montoya, left, right, oversteering.
And then took it back to the left just to squeeze Tony a bit more. So, the captain has got a pretty good chance, Roger Penske, of doing the double. Bristol last night, Pocono today. His guys are looking good. The new series, Mob Steel, is on NBCSN Wednesday nights at 10 Eastern. Classic cars become modern street machines as Mob Steel works to rebuild Detroit one classic car at a time. Mob Steel, Wednesdays at 10 Eastern on NBCSN. This Wednesday featuring Paul Tracy. No, just joking. But if there was a motorcycle edition, you could be on it, right?
Of course.
So as we roll under our 7th full course caution, I just want to remind you, because there's only one chance left in this 2015 Verizon IndyCar Series. To get in on Honda's fastest seat in sports sweepstakes, simply go to shothonda.com to sign up, and you can enter to get your chance to lead the start of the final Verizon IndyCar Series race. Most importantly, no purchase necessary. Speaking of Honda, I just want to get back to a story I mentioned before about Steve Horn's Tasman Motorsports. Andre Ribeiro, a guy you used to race against, the 20th anniversary of Honda's first win at New Hampshire at Loudon in the New England 200. So that 20 years has flashed on by.
I remember it well. I was in the race, and Honda was new to the scene, and he was with Firestones, and they immediately were winning race. So we've got Chavez, his first time leading this year. And look at this, the Honda's all up front here with Wilson as well. So as we come to the green here, these yellows have been breeding a lot of aggressive driving, and lots of yellows have ensued.
And all of a sudden, Will Power is back up the front of this race. Now, given Gabby Chavez for Brian Herter Autosport, who won here in Indy Lights last year, is about 13 laps off sequence, but nonetheless, let him have his time in the sun.
That was a slow restart. Look at this pack. Look at this snake of cars.
Here we go as they blast by the rookie. Chavez is left on his better
the way through this. So you see Hunter Ray
once again
slices by Castro Neves for second. He's moving forward. It will get more aggressive at the end, I will guarantee you that.
Yeah, Hunter Ray, to me, Paul, just seems to have this figured out.
Chavez, as you can see, has been out there for a long time. We're expecting him on pit road anytime soon. But one of the chief complaints after Fontana from the drivers, they were saying we were locked in and you couldn't get out. There's plenty of evidence here that you can get out, race and move around and make positional changes.
Well, certainly coming into this weekend, the Honda guys were saying they wouldn't be competitive, and right now we've got Honda cars 1-2. So
how about the team owner for the race leader, Katie?
Yeah, Brian Herta, your rookie is leading his very first laps in IndyCar. What does he mean to your team?
Oh, he's doing a good job. You know, we're off sequence, we know that, but we went really light on downforce, and we're struggling a lot in traffic. We had to get him some clean air, and you know, he's showing what he can do right now. You know, we're gonna have to pit early, we're gonna get out of sequence, and we'll just see how this all plays out.
Thanks, Brian. Lee?
Gabby Chavez, remember that name, because you should be seeing a lot more of him in the future. As a rookie, he's in the top 15 in this championship and enjoying his time in the limelight up front for Brian Herter Autosport. Quick reminder about more open wheel action here on your home of motorsport. The Italian Formula One Grand Prix comes your way here on NBCSN in 2 weeks' time, Sunday, September 6th, from the legendary Monza. What a race that will be. Can Ferrari perform? As well as Ryan Hunter-Ray is here. Take a look at this in very much the case of the Master and the Apprentice. Two Americans up front, but a guy who's done it all. A champion and an Indy 500 winner, and a guy who wants to do everything that Ryan Hunter-Ray has. Hunter-Ray and Sage Karam. There has definitely been a resurgence for American drivers in the Verizon IndyCar Series. And speaking of the highest placed American in the championship, Graham Rahal, who has crashed out of this race, he says on Twitter, "I'll take the high road and say this championship isn't over, and I will not stop fighting till the last lap of Sonoma next weekend, so buckle up." This is what happened to Graham Rahal at the Steak and Shake machine. Tristan Vautier in the blue and white car for Dale Coyne Racing on the low side, ran out of room, and boom. So as you see Hunter-Ray lead this race, no prizes for guessing, Gabby Chavez had to pit. He had been out there for a long time. This is Honda versus Chevrolet. Andretti Autosport versus Ganassi. Hunter-Ray and Karam. Oh, we're going to crash. Who is it? Is it Kanaan? I think it's Tony Kanaan. It is.
It is Kanaan.
What a shame. He was one of the regular front runners, led the third most laps of the race till now with 21, but TK is over and out.
What a shame.
And to me, you know him better than us, Paul. You raced against him and you've been good friends with him for a long time. Knowing TK the way we do, that was him saying, I don't know what happened.
Well, let's see right here. He got below the yellow line, and that was it.
Wow.
He dipped a wheel down below the yellow line, And then that's the flat part of the track, and that will loosen the car up. So he really was just a mistake on his own. He got down below that yellow line, and that is the transition point of banking to flat ground, and it upsets the car, and the rear end just snapped around on him.
Boy, I tell you what though, Paul, it doesn't take much to unbalance the car when you're down that low, does it?
You know, what happens is, Steve, is it just jacks a bunch of weight. It moves a bunch of cross weight, and it will instantly turn the car around on you.
Boy, he was so close to pulling that off. So close. Now,
Completely different race from last year, that's for sure. We had no cautions last year, and we've just had a ton this year. A lot of big accidents.
Well, 2 from memory, 2 cautions last year, and we're up to 7 already. And the field dwindling. And for Will Power,
we're back where we were.
Yep,
there it
that's
is.
Tim Cindric. Tim Cindric, the team president of Penske, Team Penske, saying we're back where we were, and we're back with everybody else. There's Tim, who has an interesting existence, not only in his very important role and guiding champions like Will Power, but his own son, Austin, is carving quite the career for himself. 17-year-old from North Carolina. You'll hear a lot more about Austin Cindric in the years to come. So we pause again, we take a breath on what is becoming quite an elongated 500-mile race here at Pocono. And if you are anywhere near Sonoma, California, you need to be there next weekend to see this 2015 Verizon IndyCar Series title decided. Double points race. We're back on pit road. Here's Kev.
Ryan Hunter-Reay up top, he's the leader. They're going to trim a little bit to try to find a little bit more speed. Middle of your screen is Sage Karam. He comes in running second. Montoya, the championship leader, was 10th. Montoya trying to pick up some space, but he knows he saved something with the crash for Rahal. Jan, who's going to win the race up pit road?
Well, we're going to wait and see. Will Power launches, and he gets out. Oh, no, but he has trouble. Will Power, he had a great drive, but then he lost drive. Oh, that was a great break for Will Power on the caution. He launched, but it just didn't take.
2 hiccups on the last 2 pit stops for Will Power.
Really difficult time for him today getting out around the car of Dixon. Every time, first time he was spinning the tires like crazy and lost it out around, and that time it looked like he was slipping the clutch, and then it grabbed as he leaves here. It's not spinning the tires, and it just kind of, the motor fell on its face, and he was probably in anti-stall mode at that point, and he got swarmed by all the other cars.
Take us inside the cockpit. Was he a little gung-shy on this?
Well, it just looks like he tried to leave without roasting the tires and getting it all sideways, and when you do that, you risk the chance of the car going into stall mode.
And this is what we're talking about. He's trying to avoid what happened.
Yeah, this one here, the tires are spinning, they're smoking. Watch, smoke, 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 and they're spinning. And
that was a very lurid slide there, wasn't it? And I think I agree with you 100%, Paul. I think probably trying to overcorrect to make sure he didn't do that on this release.
So not all lost, and is still in a strong position aboard the Verizon Chevrolet for Team Penske. But on this rotation, Charlie Kimball cycles to the top. So still cycling under our 7th full course caution, and it worked out pretty nicely for Gabby Chavez in the Bowers and Wilkins car for Brian Herter Autosport. Now he's only 6 laps difference as opposed to many more from the rest of the pack, out of sequence we should say. Last pitting on lap 128 as opposed to the remainder of the field who pitted on lap 134. The reason why we are under caution is due to a crash by Tony Kanaan. We're going to get to that in just a moment, but first, some news affecting the championship leader. Check this out. Steve?
Looked like it was there it is. So you just saw the air hose for Ed Carpenter's car just get kicked up there by Montoya.
Right, let's hear from Tony Kanaan, Robert.
Lee, we're just talking about Lee.
He was spectacular today, Tony Kanaan. There's a young man who's going to lead this field to green again. His name is Gabby Chavez. He's got a pretty hungry pack chasing him. He was able to maintain the lead on the last time he led the field to green. How about this time? Pagano, Karam, Munoz, here they all come. Two guys who raced each other in Indy Lights go side by side, and Karam will come out on top. So it's Pagano, Sage Karam, Gabby Chavez, Carlos Munoz, the top four.
I think you'll find in short order that Sage will want to get back to the lead.
Oh, crashes, another crasher. Who is it? This time it's Marco Andretti.
Yellow behind you.
These yellows, these guys are getting so aggressive late in the season. Everybody wants to make some points. Everybody wants to get a position. These guys are just banging wheels like crazy today.
In the Andretti backyard, home track.
Like he's a little hurt there.
For Marco, he wanted to perform so well, but his day is done too.
Doesn't look like a look of comfort on his face there.
Kev?
Michael Andretti just said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yes, I am, but I'm a little bit banged up." I couldn't tell if he said his wrist, but he said he's hurting a little bit, but somewhat okay.
And his amazing record in 2015 comes to an end. This is the only driver, Marco is the only driver to complete every racing lap this year. That now comes to an end in the most dramatic of fashions. Boy, he is banged up.
Yeah, he's hurting. He's hurting.
And this is a fit, strong young man. Just gingerly getting to his feet.
Definitely his ankle, looks like. So easy to rattle your feet off the pedals in there, and you hit the wall and your feet and your ankles slam into the pedal box. You see he's walking really lightly.
He is a phenomenal runner. So much so, he rotates through the groups of his friends because he runs so much all the time. He wears his mates out. He might not be running this week, judging by that.
Yeah, he's pretty hurt there. Yeah, like I said, when you hit the wall and your feet are pressed up against the gas pedal and pressed up against the brake pedal, your foot can slam through that and get caught in the pedals, really do some damage to your ankles.
Yeah.
You
We're
see
on board
these guys.
with Briscoe. Let's have a look what happened, Paul.
Oh, he just lost it. Wow, that's very weird.
Wasn't that strange?
Yeah. Kind of the same thing as Kanaan, but Kanaan was below the yellow line and he was just on the outside and just lost it.
Yeah.
Oof. There have been some tough licks over the last couple of days. Charlie Kimball kicking it off. Watch the yellow and blue Snapple entry. Something just got loose there.
Yeah, it did a wiggle even in the straight line before he even lost it, like almost like something might have broken.
Yeah, that looked very unusual. But as you would describe, let's have another look from this slow-mo shot.
See, something broke before it even got under load this thing.
Yeah, it was going around before the even corner was happening, so it looks like something might have broken on that car.
Yeah.
Marco Andretti, the latest in a growing list. Boy, has the attrition rate been high here at Pocono today. Andretti, Kanaan, Rahal, Vautier, Hawksworth, Bourdais and Coletti. This field is being paired back. We're enjoying a pretty cool afternoon here at Pocono. It's going to get a lot hotter next Sunday. Sonoma, California. It's the season and series finale. And you can see it right here on NBCSN at 4 Eastern. Championship decider next Sunday. And there is a pretty wounded Andretti Autosport Honda belonging to Marco Andretti, who limped away from the scene of the accident. As we welcome you back to the Tricky Triangle. Final oval of the year, final 500 miler of the year, and boy, has it given us lots to talk about. It's going to give us the Chevrolet driver update at the moment, and the Bowtie boys pretty well represented with Simon Pagano, who felt one got away from him at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this year. Perhaps this could be Simon's 500-mile win. Need to let you inside the world of the guy behind him, the rookie, Sage Karam. Have a listen to this radio.
Obviously, this helps us. You know, but like we said before, everything we save now, we're going to have to burn at the end, which we're obviously going to need. So you just keep doing what you've been doing, and we'll get to the end.
So right now, guys, fuel is so critical. You see Simon Pagenaud has got his nose completely under the car, the pace car, trying to save fuel.
Every little bit counts in a 500-miler. Back with more. We come back here to Pocono.
Having to use the brakes to try to keep the car spooled up. It just went way too violently. You know, that's not a normal way for a car to let go. So, yeah, I think something let go. It's a bummer.
I mean, you hit hard too, so it's good that you're walking.
Yeah, the angle wasn't very nice, but you know, that's a tribute to these cars. They're definitely strong. Just wish the wishbone was a bit
race. Mentioned right at the top of the broadcast the deep, rich history with Indy cars here, and then of course returning in 2013. But as we go back, what a picture that is. The late Mark Donohue, 40 years since Mark passed away, along with Roger Penske in that particular picture. But there we go, Super Tex. The honor roll here, particularly in the early days, just unbelievable. I mean, the names: Rutherford, the Foyt, Sneaver, Mears, Sullivan, incredible. And look at that. That there, believe it or not, is a very youthful. Where do you buy yourself a ticket to, PT? Is it the last 50 laps, the last 30 laps?
I'll tell you, we got a long way to go still. I mean, we're only, you know, 3/4 of the way through this thing, and the way this is going, it's so frantic. Yeah. The lead's been changing. There's different strategies going on. Guys trying different aero packages. So it's really all going to come down to the last lap is when it's going to count. So we've got basically 50 to go. We've got a ways till we know who the real players are going to be.
This is my first time here, but I've got to say, guys, the name, the Tricky Triangle, I mean, it really is living up to that for many reasons.
Okay, Ganassi and Penske in. Charlie Kimball and the reigning series champion. Jan, what's happening there with Power?
Well, with Power, what they're doing is they're topping off so that he has some extra fuel. So his next stop, he may lose this position on the drag with Charlie Kimball, or maybe not. But let me tell you, I just spoke with Tim Cindric about those two launches. We're going to go back to green. One was too much wheel spin. The other one, just as you said.
Now, looking inside.
Yeah, there it is.
So Paul Tracy is a driver known for perhaps having a little bit of a hot head during an illustrious career, being a bit of a tough guy on the track. It's easy to criticize when people do something wrong, but what do you make?
He's worked his way back forward. He's been on a different pit strategy. He's worked his way back forward. He's driving at a much higher level than a 20-year-old you would expect to drive. So I like what I see. This guy's the future. As these guys get older, like Castro Neves, Montoya, who are the next guys coming through the rank?
And even though he did ruffle a few feathers along the way this year in his rookie season, there weren't too many willing to go toe-to-toe with him because he was a champion.
Sage's dad, you ought to see his dad, the shape he's in, who was the high school wrestling coach in Nazareth. So two guys not to mess with.
And his dad, Jody, used to be Michael Andretti's physical trainer. There's Jody.
There he is right there. Yeah, you don't want to mess around with that guy. I thought it was his bodyguard.
Good job, keep it up.
That's because they're right now riding. They have about 13, 14 laps, and they're hoping to get to one more pit stop. If they get in that window, and again, if they can go maybe 15 or 16, then they have more fuel. Then we won't see this riding around. We'll see these guys unleash them.
Hey, Jan, when do you see that opening? Another 10 laps or so?
Yes, I think the soonest you could come in was 168. Go as much as lap 174. Kevin?
Juan Pablo Montoya, the championship leader, continues to run in 6. It's interesting. Not only was a year ago here, not this date, but this race, his first win in his return to IndyCar, but it was almost 2 years ago on the calendar when Tim Cindric came up and talked to him at a Cup race after he lost the Ganassi ride and just casually said, what are you doing next year? And Juan said, I don't know. Do you have anything? That began the discussion that brought him back to IndyCar, which could lead to a championship this year as Helio tries to go below his teammate.
And does effectively so.
Shows you the level of help you're getting from your teammates within the Penske group. Everybody working to help Dixon. Sage out here on his own trying to win his maiden race, his first race of his championship career.
So, as Kevin said, Montoya won here on his IndyCar return last year. Not only a win, it was the fastest 500-mile race. He did it with an exclamation point. You're watching the ABC Supply 500 presented by MAV TV here on your home of motorsports. Lee Diffie, Paul Tracy, Steve Matchett. We're doing the double, the F1 IndyCar double today. Katie Hargett, Robin Miller, Kevin Lee and Jan Beekes on pit road, being treated to a pretty special 500-miler here, the final oval of the year, and we're almost in that final pit stop window.
I'll tell you what, Pagano got an outside move by Sage, and he wanted to hang on to that second spot, and now that he's gotten in more turbulence, he's lost another position, and he has Munoz has been attacking him as well. Oh, yellow.
Full
got
course
a
yellow, what's this for?
Oh,
it's a fox.
So, we had a rabbit at Bristol earlier in the week. Now we've got a fox here at Pocono. So, track now clear. This will be brief.
Well, we're right at we're 3 laps shy of when the pit window is, so what do you do?
I think I've seen it all in my career personally. I've seen groundhogs at Montreal, I've seen kangaroos at Bathurst, Bristol, rabbits, and now Incredible. 8th, 9th, I take that back, 9th full course caution of the day. This is nicely going to put them in that final pit stop window, and the race will be on. Now, for those of you turning on late, welcome. Championship battle between Juan Pablo Montoya and Graham Rahal. Rahal is out of this race, yet is still second in the championship as they run. Lap 94, Tristan Vautier came through the inside like a bulldozer and collected the Steak and Shake Honda over and out. Rahal was none too pleased with the young Frenchman either. Now, Tristan had his standpoint and justified it, said that he was left no room, and life was made a little bit difficult, you could argue, from Graham Rahal's standpoint from Justin Wilson on the outside, but nonetheless, he's out of the race. We are about to see some frantic action on pit lane. It's the race to home. You ever seen a fox on a racetrack before?
I was just going to say, why did the fox cross the road? Because he wanted to. And it's a pretty smart fox to wait for all the traffic to go by, though.
It was.
Watch your speed.
Here we
Alright,
go.
buddy, we got to hit the mark perfect here. You know
Of a
where we are.
more serious nature. Let's get ready to roll on pit road. Katie Hargett, take it away.
3.
This is the day Sage Karam has dreamed about since he was just a kid, racing on the go-karts track around Pennsylvania. He's leading, has been up to second today, up to Kevin.
Juan Pablo Montoya comes in 7th. He's taking a quarter turn up front wing, and Ryan Hunter-Reay is already a great stop. Who's going to win a Jan?
Yes, and we watch the race off pit road. It's Hunter-Reay, and this time Willpower gets away. They're rubbing wheels. That was 3 wide with Joseph Newgarden. This may or may not be their last stop. Lee, you talked about getting into the pit window. They need some yellow now. This was actually 3 or 4 laps, I think Paul mentioned, too early. So now if they sweep or somehow keep the pace car out, that'll help them. Otherwise, they got to really save fuel.
Yeah, like you say, what a day it's been for the DHL Honda. Ryan Hunter-Reay, Andretti Autosport. He's led 21 laps today. Still nobody even close to Joseph Newgarden at 47 laps led. And he did the majority of that in the opening stanza. Simon Pagano has had a good run up front. There's Newgarden. Castro Neves has led 24. Let's watch this race off pit road. There's RHR. The next car is Sage Karam. 3 wide. Oh, that's close
to tell
between
that one. Maybe Pagano.
Yeah, Newgarden definitely at the back. Very close between Castro Neves and Pagano, teammates.
Well, I am willing to bet, Steve, I'll make you a bet for dinner that there will be another yellow the way these guys have been driving. So,
well, so far we've had 9.
Might not be an issue, but still, guys want to. They seem like they want to they want to sit in second place and not lead, but we'll see what happens here. So we see Munoz leaving the pits. Guys getting more service, maybe changing some handling.
And again, this is the reason for our 9th full course caution.
And he jumps over the wall, perfect jump, and right under the fence. Look at that. Talk about slick.
It's like a show jumping horse.
There you go, Tricky. Tricky has left the building.
He's obviously a local celebrity.
Right in front of Pippa Man. Pippa must have been thinking, what on earth is going on? So cruising at a much lower speed and edging very close to maybe making it on this fuel load, or maybe one more stop. Ryan Briscoe, who's out of sequence, gets the Arrow Honda for Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports at the front. Well and truly out of sequence, both Briscoe and Justin Wilson ready to go back racing here at Pocono. Is this the last time? Is this the last restart? We'll find out. Look at this pack now!
What was going on?
Who is it? Is that Montoya? Castro
Neves. Castro Neves loses it. How extraordinary, that restart.
You owe me dinner.
Yeah, buddy.
So, there is one of the captain's men out.
That was the weirdest restart I've seen. There was like the second group, nobody got on the gas, and they were 4 or 5 wide before when they came off of turn 3.
Yeah.
Remember at the last 500-mile race, Elio went out as well at Auto Club Speedway Fontana. Appears to be okay, but as one of our championship contenders, will be furious. The pole sitter had high hopes for today's ABC Supply 500. And yes, that makes 10 full course cautions. Elio okay, but his championship is wounded.
So you see the front 3 cars are gone. As the rest of these guys come, there's nobody going. And look, they're fanning out. And Pagano just gets swarmed by everybody in the field here.
I make 6 or 7, Steve.
Look at that.
How many did you count? Maybe more?
The gray like Bourdais and just lost the rear of the car. It was just a little too high. And all that turbulent air.
Let's climb aboard. Team Penske's championship leader, Juan Montoya. Watch the madness of this.
He's in a hurry. He's not waiting to go anywhere.
4 outside, 4 outside, 4 outside. One looking inside, one looking inside.
Can you believe that? Oh my. Watch this. Look up high, there's Elio, 3rd car. Up in the grey.
Yeah.
Fresh tires, cold tires, up in the gray, and he just lost the rear of the car. He probably could have gotten away with that if the tires were hot, but they were fresh sticker cold tires, and they're not going to stick up there in the gray.
So here we go, diving to pit road again just to ensure that they can get to the end. Kev?
I think that's it. Let's see. No tire change, just Sunoco fuel for Juan Pablo Montoya. One of several takers. John, who else?
Will Power's another one too, and this time he does have a launch, but it's Montoya and possibly Briscoe beat him to the line.
Yeah, that caution came at a perfect time for Ryan Briscoe and his Arrow Honda. So he gets back on sequence.
Worry or think about fuel, Steve. This is kind of like what you call in golf laying up. They've guaranteed that they don't have to worry about fuel.
Yeah, they're good to go.
So the whole Matro safety team have been working overtime today. You're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by MAV TV, Motorsport Network, your destination for all things motorsport. And Steak and Shake, home of the original steak burger, proud sponsor of the number 15, and Graham Rahal. Thanks for watching IndyCar here on your home of motorsport, NBCSN. We're getting ready for the final 30 laps. The run to home. And we're going to take you back to show you something pretty zany. Steve, match it if you will.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can't quite get to 8, Lee.
And the winning number is, and the supplementary is.
I'll go 7 with a possible 8. Look at that.
Can you imagine if that's what our finish is like, if there's a green-white checker? Oh. It's possible.
Credit to these guys for holding it together. Robin Miller with Elio Castro Neves.
Elio, what do you think happened on the restart? Because like Paul said, that it looked like everybody was hanging back.
No, it was nobody said it was going green. Everybody in the pits were kind of like, are we going green? Are we going green? So I can see Roger kind of like on doubt as well. And as soon as went green, everybody's still in a kind of like saving mode situation. So all of a sudden, I can't see right now, but
I know.
all of a sudden, yeah. And then I was just trying to go outside. I think we didn't warm up the tires very well. Certainly I lost the rear and just start going. So it's a shame because we had a very fast car. Car was great. It was just one of those things that.
Does look, he surges forward, ready to go back, and we've got Ryan Hunter-Reay. RHR will see the green first. Racing. Now, will this be the last time we see the green? Is this going to take us all the way to the end of the final oval of the year? Tightly packed this time. Takuma Sato wants a shoot. And for the man aboard the Verizon Chevy. Gets past Hunter-Reay. Iowa crashed out. Suspension failure. Mid-Ohio was looking good until the last
caution. If you can do a little better on fuel, that'll help us at the end and drive hard. Doing good.
Just didn't quite go his way.
What Montoya now has got John Booslock telling him just try to save a little bit more, but he's able to run full fuel. He's going to be strong.
We may have had 10 cautions that have punctuated this race, but we've had 29 lead changes.
All right, that's a bummer for our teammate, but this obviously helps our fuel situation. Like right now, looks like a 4-6 with 5 laps of yellow.
That's the radio a little earlier to Juan Pablo Montoya.
Well, now Montoya is 4th.
Well, the good thing for Montoya is Rahal is still in second in the points. He's cushioned now himself 31 points and 46 to Dixon. So he's not going to go too crazy and make a mistake. He can't afford to make a mistake. But if there's an opportunity for him to win, Steve, believe me, he will go for it.
I believe you.
But Dixon's disadvantage, or Dixon's distance from the top, was 31 in 3rd place. 31 points between himself and Montoya. As they run now, it would be 46. Let's talk more about Ganassi. Let's talk to the man himself.
Chip Ganassi has moved from Tony's pit stand down to Sage's. Chip, what do you think of this rookie leading his hometown race?
He's doing a great job, obviously. I mean, we need a little bit of yellow to make the finish, but this is our best shot to win the race. We're not interested in finishing 10th. We either want to win or go home.
I heard you guys were gambling on strategy a little bit for Sage just so he could get time out front. How important is that time out front for a rookie?
You know, anytime you can be out front, anytime you can run with these guys at the front, it's good stick time, it's good learning, and that's what he's doing right now.
All right, Chip, watching his rookie lead the way.
Comfortably so, too. Isn't he doing a nice job?
Going to need a little bit of help, that's for sure. This could be a situation that Kanan had last year, leading so comfortably and then running out of fuel with a couple laps to go.
Oh, he's gone! Karam is gone!
That's a hard hit right there.
All by himself.
Oh.
Oh, in the wall goes Justin Wilson.
Man, it's crazy race today.
Crazy race is right.
Started out looking pretty formulaic, routine, everybody in the groove, has not turned out that way at all.
Well, I hope
Don't
these guys
see
are
Sage
okay.
moving around a lot with his head trying to get out of the car, so
that looked like
that was a pretty big impact there. There's not a lot of movement from Justin either. There's no movement from him, so he's had a hard hit or hit something on the track.
And the skid mark straight on into the inside wall, the safer barrier from Justin Wilson. The whole Matro safety team, as they always do, a superb job on the scene, prompt, fast. and aiding the drivers. Health and safety always at the forefront.
Both of these guys, this is both big impacts, so it's safety teams are both around both of these guys, so a lot of attention going on to Wilson, so there's something going on over there.
Guy who came into this season late to help Honda, help Andretti Autosport, assist with them in turning around what has been a pretty frustrating season.
We saw the damaged suspension to Wilson's car, but yet to see...
Sage is up, Steve.
Yeah, that's very good. That's good to see. I think Sage is out, and that's great to see. The attention now is all around Justin Wilson's car.
Oh, you can see the front of the car here is really smashed, so more than likely he's hurt his feet. He's not ready to stand yet, obviously, because you look at the front of that car, it's smashed all the way back to the steering arms almost, which is a big impact.
And for this very talented 20-year-old American, we'd just spoken to his team boss, Chip Ganassi, who was singing his praises. Things were looking good. He'd driven a very good race today. But it ends in a very spectacular and abrupt way. And understandably, taking his time before he gets up.
Here we go. Is all but walking unaided. That's terrific to see. Because as you say, PT,
little limp there. So
that was a big shot.
It's his dad, Jody, concerned, but will be very relieved to see his son walk away from that one.
Yep.
Look at the debris in the background just strewn all over and around the exit of turn 1. The work going on, as you can see, is on Justin Wilson in the number 25 Andretti Autosport Honda. So a day where we have seen some spectacular racing, but equally as wild crashes, and there have been many of them. And the attrition rate has been extremely high. Sage Karam, Stefano Coletti, Sebastian Bourdais, Jack Hawksworth, Tristan Vautier, Graham Rahal, Tony Kanaan, Marco Andretti, Ed Carpenter is now out of this race. Elio Castro Neves. It has been a wild afternoon in Pocono.
It really has. Been some spectacular racing, and also spectacular racing at high speed, and we've seen some incidents both on the track and in the pits.
As far as the Justin Wilson situation, we only caught the tail end of it. You see the skid marks heading straight into the big black mark on the safer barrier, the inside wall. That was the last shot we got of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many parts flying in the air. It is very easy to hit something. We've seen it happen before with Hinchcliffe. You hit a piece of debris. So we'll see what happens here. But it's very, very easy with all these parts flying everywhere to hit something, have it hit you in the head, and then suddenly just be not completely unconscious, but not know where you're going.
So they have extracted Justin Wilson out of the car, but let's take you back. Lead car, yellow and red, is Sage Karam. It just broke loose all by himself. Look at that.
A little loose. He spins around, hits in nose first hard. Parts are coming off the car here. Really no sign of Wilson. We don't see what happens to him.
Look at everybody just, they go high or they go low. Justin Wilson's just gone through there.
I think he might have hit that bumper pod that was sitting in the middle of the track. We see here.
Watch for the blue and silver car here go through. There goes Justin Wilson, and then look, locks up. That's Chip Ganassi's reaction. Let's see if this tells us any more about Justin Wilson. You're going to be looking on the high side. You're going to be looking on the left of Sage Karam's car. As Karam starts coming down the track, look on the high side. As he comes down the track, Wilson will be going high. He hasn't yet entered the picture. Wait for Wilson to come through. There's Pagenaud on the low side.
The nose section there bouncing, bouncing, and right there on the head. And that is, if that is the nose of the car, that is a very, very heavy, thick object. You see it flying through the air. It's nearly 100 yards in the air, and I would guarantee that that knocked him unconscious, and he's just a passenger now.
Oh.
It looks to me from that shot, guys, that it's the part of the crash structure from the front of the car.
This is from Dixon's view, rear view. Looking back, second car you see in shot is Justin Wilson. So watch for this. There goes that piece of debris, the nose cone of the car.
Oh, that's not what you want to hit. We've seen in the past the damage that a spring will do with Massa, and that's a much bigger piece.
Well, the guy's continuing to work out on track, but you could see in the aftermath of that accident, PT, just how much debris there was on the track. It's going to take some clearing.
Again, we can't thank IndyCar's medical team and the whole Matro safety crew for the outstanding work that they do. This is a family. Yeah, it's a big-time racing series, but in many ways it's a small family, and it's a very tight-knit family. Getting close to 6 p.m. Eastern here at Pocono Raceway as this prolonged caution continues, the cleanup continues from a very savage accident involving rookie Sage Karam and veteran Justin Wilson. Independent of each other, Karam crashing while leading and debris being strewn all over the track and in the air, and Wilson, the unlucky recipient of some of that flying debris, collecting not only himself but the 25 Andretti Autosport Honda. We don't have any further information at this stage as to Justin's condition, but as you can see, pictures tell the story. Pretty obvious that he will be airlifted out of Pocono Raceway. Been a long day for these guys left on track. The attrition rate just incredible. 13 cars left running from 24 starters.
Been an absolute marathon of a race. The first quarter went by really quick, and after we had the first yellow, it's just been, these guys have been driving really aggressively for the length of the race, how much there was left time to race. It's been an aggressive fight, and a lot of people have paid the price.
A lot of people pushing on those restarts, PT, as you were describing earlier on when tires were cold.
We spoke about this earlier in commentary, and this was James Hinchcliffe. A very similar incident. Look at that. It was collected, that debris, and that picture tells the story for Hinch.
And that was a very, very small piece of winglet, not a big nose cone. So it's our prayers go out for Justin, and let's have him come back, hopefully make it back for the next race.
As we pointed out in the commercial break, Steve, very similar to the Felipe Massa incident. However, as Paul, you said, going at a lot faster speed and a lot bigger body part.
Yeah, well, certainly when Massa hit that spring, he was maybe traveling, I believe it was Monza, Steve?
It was
Hungary, maybe 160, 170 miles an hour.
Yeah.
These cars are averaging 220, so a lot more velocity and speed.
It is one of the hazards, Paul, as you know better than all of us, of open wheel racing, is despite all the crush structures around the chassis, the monocoque to keep the driver safe, it is open cockpit racing.
Yes, and there has been a push in the last couple of years with the Red Bull design closed cockpit car. We know that IndyCar is looking at that. We spoke with them about what their future plans are. There is talk in the future of trying to close these cockpits in with some type of structure. So Michael looking very dejected. Marco looking dejected. So it's maybe that's the future direction that these cars need to go to keep these drivers a little safer.
One of the concerns I'm hearing, Paul, with that suggestion, and any suggestion for safety is always going to be looked at and the pros and cons discussed, is extracting a driver from a car in a closed cockpit situation with these open world designs. Yeah,
there's a fire or something going on. Yeah. But you look at the pros and the cons. Getting hit with something at 200 miles an hour is a big factor as well.
Yep.
While this monstrous cleanup continues, we'll duck away and return to Pocono Raceway in just a moment as the laps dwindle down. For those of you just turning on here at the top of the hour, this is the ABC Supply 500 here at Pocono Raceway, presented by MAV TV. We're under a very prolonged caution period. Pretty ugly crash sustained by the young American Sage Karam and the veteran Justin Wilson involved, who came around many cars after the then leader Karam crashed and collided with the nose cone of Karam's Ganassi Chevrolet that was flung into the air at very high speed. And while we were just in that commercial break, Justin was transported from the ambulance into the medical helicopter and is being airlifted from the circuit. So we continue to circulate and we're inside the last 10 laps of this race. And as Paul Tracy correctly said just a few moments ago, our thoughts are with Justin. Super guy, one of the most liked guys in the paddock. And we will update you with any information as soon as we have it. So an update from race control. Track has been fully cleaned and cleared, and as soon as in the next lap they may get the 1 to go sign. There is the crash site, and it was strewn with debris, has been effectively cleaned and ready to go back to racing. "500 miles are grueling at the best of days, on the best of days. This one has been exceptional."
It really has. Every 50 laps has given us a different race for one reason or another.
Everything from wild restarts, 7 abreast across the front straight, to exhilarating passing moves, to really severe crashes, to a fox crossing the racetrack. There has been a little bit of everything here today. 12 different leaders for 30 lead changes and 11 cautions. That gives you a window into the race.
1 to go.
I'll tell you what, we're not done yet with the lead changes, that's for sure. Montoya is looking for a win to solidify his championship. Sato wants a win. This guy, the rookie at the front, wants a win. Hunter Ray wants a win. So we're not done yet with the passing.
No.
Now Hunter Ray is mathematically out of the championship. It was cut off at the top 10, given the scope of the next 2 weeks. But it could be a huge day for Gabby Chavez. Could the 22-year-old rookie hang on? Wouldn't that be a story for Brian Herter?
Well, they trimmed his car out to get him at the front. They went off strategy, got the yellow. They got him back on strategy. He's light on downforce, and as long as he's got track position, his car is fast. And look at this guy. Was at the back at the beginning of the race, biding his time. He's up at the front. Now we have Montoya, the championship leader, he's going to look for a win, but he's not going to take any crazy risks with the points lead that he's got.
What a contrast. You've got a 22-year-old rookie ahead of a 38-year-old ex-Formula One driver, ahead of a 39-year-old ex-Formula One driver. Champion there in 3rd place. Champion back in 4th place. Indy 500 winner in 3rd place. Indy 500 winner in 4th place. The big guns, there are some big guns at the front, but they're being led by a 22-year-old rookie and the reigning series champion, Will Power, in 5th place.
He likes these slow restarts. He's bringing them down slow and tight, keeping a low line.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Hi, say hi.
We got a crash somewhere.
Another caution. Or is it just, it's Chavez. Problems with the Bauer and Wilkins machine.
Yep, coast it in here, coast it in here.
What a shame.
Nice and easy, nice and easy, nice and easy.
3 laps to go.
Tell you what, if there's any oil on the track from that,
Shut it
will
off.
cause,
Shut it off.
unless they
We're done.
red flag it, that will end it, and Hunter Ray will get another win.
What a shame for Gabby Chavez and Brian Herter Autosport. It had such a good run.
What a day for the Andretti crew with the misfortune of Wilson, and if they were able to get a win, wow.
Day over for Gabby Chavez.
Yep.
Showed what he had, though. He ran up front for most of the day, led laps. A great day for him, even though it ended this way.
Is Brian Herter really busy with his diversified program in Red Bull GRC as well as the Verizon IndyCar Series. Really celebrated career himself as an open-wheel driver and then sports car driver. And his young rookie driver really put himself on the map today. Sorry it didn't end in a better way, Gabby, but you did a nice job nonetheless.
Ryan Hunter-Ray finds himself leading this race, 2 laps to go, and he has worked himself back up to the front at least 3 times to do this.
I liked him earlier in the race. His car looked really good in traffic, and he was able to make moves and come through. And I called it about 50, 60 laps ago. He looked really strong and got himself in the right position at the right time, and it looks like this will end under yellow.
Yes, it will. And we can now confirm, race control has said this will finish under yellow. Ryan Hunter-Ray, the Iowa Speedway winner, the last time we were on an oval, went to victory lane, and RHR will do it again, albeit in a much slower fashion.
Another solid day for Montoya. He's got to be happy with that. Obviously would have liked to win, but when you beat out your guys you're racing in the championship and extend by 34 points, that's a big day.
Came in with a 9-point advantage and leaves with a 34-point advantage. That is a great day. Joseph Newgarden. How about this? The same 2 guys who finished 1st and 2nd in Iowa finished 1st and 2nd here. Newgarden in that runner-up spot and the points leader in 3rd. He is amazing at 500-mile races, isn't he, Montoya? The way he just sits back, doesn't lose his patience, positions the car beautifully, does what he needs to do.
How about this? How about Hunter Ray in 500-mile events? Some of the moves he makes, the aggression, that pass down the front straightaway on Chavez was so much like his pass at Indy for the win. It was breathtaking, daring.
Decisive.
Yeah, just great move.
Or maybe in a strange way, this race was destined to finish this way in the bizarre nature that the day has unfolded, the race has unfolded.
Hey, Lee.
Yes, Robin.
Yesterday, after practice, Ryan Hunter-Ray said it's the worst I've ever been blown off in practice or qualifying or anything. I don't think we have a chance against the Chevrolets.
No way. It will be a Honda going to victory lane, driven by Ryan Hunter-Ray. Andretti Autosport, Ryan Hunter-Ray.
Nice run today, Ryan. Awesome work. Way to stay with it all day, no matter what we were faced with. Really solid.
Win at Pocono. RHR wins the last 500-mile race of the year.
Yeah, the first 50 laps of this race, PT, for me, were all about trimming the cars to get them into their best configuration for the remaining 150.
Well, they came in here with an unknown package. They mandated, okay, this is what you're going to run. They never really got a chance, and there wasn't a lot of practice. They went straight into qualifying. It took a couple of stints to get the cars figured out, and then the racing got hot and heavy and frantic, and it was close. Guys were banging wheels. Great race. It just another one of these that you never know what's going to happen until the checkered flag falls.
Thumbs up from Ryan, and shades of Iowa, where he showed strength and was in the right position at the right time.
Wilson, he's going to come, he's out of the race at the end, and he has 15th place. Elio Castroneves has 16, followed by
what a day. What a day at the Tricky Triangle. And just repeating, 6 now eligible to win this championship. The 28 DHL Honda, not one of them. And at the top of the order, Juan Pablo Montoya extends his championship lead. But for the moment, as the shadows grow long here at Pocono Raceway, it's RHR's time to celebrate this victory. Another one for Honda, and that will help in the overall tally and give Honda a little bit of a boost in a year and in a season that has been pretty tough competition. Chevrolet dominated, no doubt, but Honda will be delighted to see another W.
He wants to win it really bad, and 67 was the same way. You know, they were not willing to give an inch. So I needed, you know.
Just waiting for RHR to get out of the car. And Jan is standing by.
Yes, and this will be a slightly different victory circle for Ryan Hunter-Reay. He was getting an update from IndyCar officials. There'll be no confetti. He's been asking on the radio about Justin Wilson. They were not able to give him information all
this 500-mile race. Hunter-Reay and Newgarden Montoya. Montoya doing everything he needed to do. Will Power hung tough today. And Carlos Munoz was pretty much in there all the way along. The attrition rate was enormous, with a lot of dropouts and a lot of crashes. We're going to take a look at the points for you now. The big news is Montoya has extended that advantage. Closing thoughts, Steve, great to share and do the double with you, but what are your thoughts at the end of this very interesting day?
Well, it's been a long day, it's been a good day in some ways, and it's been a bad day in other ways. Sometimes motor racing is very difficult. It is a tremendous challenge, and it is a dangerous challenge, but it has been a very interesting race for many reasons here at the Tricky Triangle.
Paul?
Well, again, Montoya now has extended his lead, and it's, you know, he's doing exactly what he needs to do to win this championship, but it is still wide open. Double points next week in Sonoma, so the fat lady hasn't sung yet, that's for sure.
Yes, this championship's still up for grabs for 6 drivers. As we come to a close here at Pocono Raceway, we want to say thank you for watching the Verizon IndyCar Series here on your home of motorsport, NBCSN. We'll be with you next weekend from Sonoma, California for the season finale. But for the time being, please join all of us in thinking and sharing a thought for Justin Wilson, and let's hope we get some news soon.